Hello everyone, it's Ty Slatter and welcome to another NBA offseason edition of GTA's ISO Mode. If you haven't already, follow GTA Sports Network on all social media platforms. Like, comment, subscribe to GTA Sports on YouTube. You can follow me at Ty Slatter on all platforms. Don't forget TySlatter.com for all things more sports. Let's talk about the Boston Celtics for a second. With Jayson Tatum going down with torn Achilles during the playoffs of the 2025 NBA season, we kind of knew with new ownership, the amount of money that they just paid Tatum and Brown within the last two seasons, reaching well over $500 million between the two of them. We knew that this team wasn't going to be able to stay together. So seeing Jrue Holiday, Luke Cornett, and Kristaps Porzingis getting traded and leaving in free agency, I wasn't too surprised. They end up getting in return for some of these moves, Yang and Luke Garza and Simons from the Trailblazers. It looks lopsided, but you got to look at the salary cap. They were talking about teams that don't want to hit the second apron of the luxury tax because they already were in it and they don't want to continue to have to pay it. And they know Tatum's going to be out for most of next year, if not all of next year. It hasn't been officially announced, but with that type of injury, don't be surprised if Tatum misses pretty much the whole regular season. I mean, as it's been reported for the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton is out for the entire season, as we predicted, based on him getting hurt in the Game 7 and that injury taking a year to recover. I mean, getting hurt in June like that, or in Tatum's case, going into June, it's the worst time to get hurt because you're going to miss the whole season. Look at Damian Lillard, another one that's going to miss the entire season based on the injury, similar injury to the other two that were mentioned. The Celtics are going to have to make some moves, and this is the start of the end. I wouldn't be too surprised if Jaylen Brown ends up getting traded or is in trade talks this season. They're going to try to make him the number one option, but I don't see that working out too well because he's not a number one option. It's been proven on numerous occasions when Tatum was hurt in the last few years where Jaylen Brown had to take over certain games. I mean, he could give you a few games depending on the matchups, but when you look at who they got for who they had to lose, Boston's not going to be as strong defensively next year. They brought some more scoring in, I guess, but a lot of the players they brought in are role players. They're just for the bench. And with Al Horford, leaving and possibly retiring after, this offseason, I don't see the Celtics being as big of a threat in the East as they have been previous seasons without Tatum. So I think they're just trying to hold their head above water and stay within the mix of the Eastern Conference because the Eastern Conference is wide open. I mean, when you got the Knicks, who just got Mike Brown as a coach, check out that video. You still have the Cavaliers, who got Lonzo Ball this offseason for a relatively cheap price, in my opinion, based on his the fact that he's only played 70 games in the last 2 or 3 seasons when he was with the Bulls. So due to his knee injuries and multiple surgeries. You have teams that are better than Boston or getting better by the day. Miami Heat, who have just recently signed Norman Powell from the Clippers. That's just to name a few. I don't see the Boston Celtics being a top 3 team next season. They may have their flashes and moments where they're in the conversation, but you got Philly running it back next year with Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid. Hopefully everybody will be healthy this year because last year was abysmal. So hopefully this season they'll all be able to actually play together to be determined. And overall, I just don't see the Celtics. The new owners are not going to pay the money to keep everybody, so they're already dismantling the championship team that you had. And that's the catch-22 of the new collective bargaining agreement is you can't keep everybody. You can't afford it without paying the tax. You hit that sacred apron, the luxury tax is abysmal. And no owner wants to pay that every year. On top of the salaries, on top of personnel, on top of coaching. There's so much money going out that it doesn't make sense mathematically to keep everyone on the team after a championship or a championship level roster. You have a small window, and if you don't win or try to get multiple within that window, it doesn't give the owners any incentive to keep certain players that are due for big contracts. So overall, I think Boston's going to go through a down period unless they potentially, the last report I heard is Dame might be interested in going to the Celtics. I don't know how that helps them because he's not a defensive guard. He's an offensive guard. So you might have more scoring, but that does not help the defense issue that you lose in losing Jrue Holiday. So your thoughts below if you're a Boston Celtics fan, what you think is going to happen with Boston. Am I wrong for my take on the Celtics not being at the top of the East next year? Let me know your thoughts. Check out GTA Sports Network, GTA Sports on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe. You follow me at Ty Slater. Check out TySlater.com for all things in world sports. It's Ty Slater signing off. Until next time.